Hey everyone, it's Jim. Today I wanted to do a video about rental affordability in Boise. I give a lot of folks that are relocating here rental tours of apartments in the area, and they're frequently pretty blown away by how expensive it is to rent here in Boise, Idaho, versus wherever they're coming from. And so I wanted to share some data from Redfin, a real estate tech company, on some of the more affordable markets in the country, and basically their results kind of show that Boise is essentially affordable for the kind of median earner to go and get the median apartment, but it's just barely right there. And there are other markets in the country that are more affordable, and to me, that's a little bit surprising that when you look at places like Austin, where I moved from, are dramatically more affordable. So let's dig into it. All right, so let's dive into this analysis from Redfin. So this came out in late January and is based on their analysis of the sort of median rent from rental markets and the median per capita income of a renter. So they got a few highlights here. I'll just scroll down and get into the meat of it here. So this mentions that Austin is the most affordable metro for renters. I was really a little bit surprised by that, but they mentioned that part of the reasoning for that is because Austin, especially in the sort of post-COVID or during COVID era, really experienced a massive multifamily construction boom. So lots of apartments being made. Texas is a very sort of pro-growth place in terms of being able to get permits and build, and you don't have a lot of sort of natural barriers in the way. So here in Boise, we have the foothills to the north. So other than a few little sort of nooks and crannies, we really can't develop up into the foothills to the north. And so that causes our ability to grow to be constrained, even though Idaho is a pretty sort of pro-growth kind of state from a policy perspective. So I just wanted to compare. This is just really interesting to me. Boise is not one of the most affordable, but here's the 10 most affordable according to Redfin. So Austin, Houston, Dallas, Salt Lake, which is interesting because that's just a 5-hour drive from here. Rent's actually very similar, but you can make a little bit more money. So let's compare actually. All right, so according to Redfin, here I've just switched over to their analysis of the Boise rental market, and they show the median rent here being about $1,450. So keep that in mind, $1,450 compared to, I think Salt Lake was about $1,470. And then here's the Federal Reserve's analysis of per capita personal income in Idaho. So I couldn't find something that was Boise Metro specific, but this is good enough for what we're talking about. So let's say $60,000 right now is the median per capita income. So for an individual renter, that's how much income they have. Switch back to the analysis here. And you can see, so for example, Salt Lake is slightly more expensive by about $26 than for that median asking rent versus the Boise area, but the median renter makes $4,000 or $5,000 more per year than that renter in Boise. So slightly more affordable based on the income level. Raleigh, Denver, which this one really surprised me. I guess I'm not really sure how this works, but people in Denver, the median renter in Denver makes about $13,000 more per year than they do in Boise. Obviously, just a more thriving economy, maybe more tech presence there. I think, and by the way, I just think personally, Boise has a lot of room to grow in that area and a lot to offer. But right now, our main employers are JR Simplot, it's kind of an agriculture company, and then Micron Semiconductor, which is growing like crazy right now. That's where a lot of the folks that I work with that are moving to town are coming from. But there's a lot more opportunity, I think, here to grow and sort of create a more thriving economy. Phoenix, this one's crazy to me. Washington, D.C. is listed by Redfin as one of the top 10 most affordable rental markets in the country. Even though rent is up above $2,000 because they say the median renter makes almost $87,000 a year. That seems crazy to me. Not sure that that's really the case. I've looked at jobs in DC, and there's a lot of jobs that do not pay that much money, but nevertheless, that's their analysis. And so there's Nashville, and then just real quick, here's the 10 least affordable. Some of these will be not surprising at all. Providence, Rhode Island, a little surprising, but Miami, New York, Los Angeles, Boston, San Diego, Riverside, California, Tampa, Florida, Philadelphia, and Buffalo, New York. Buffalo is interesting because while rents are quite low there, the median per capita income of a renter is very low in Buffalo, New York. And this is where the article mentions that Austin, here it is, Austin, like many Sunbelt metros, saw some of the highest levels of multifamily housing construction over the past few years, and rents are now starting to fall as supply increases and demand levels off. So I just think that's really interesting. If you're a young person that's considering different places where you might want to go live and begin your career, you can make meaningfully more money in a town like Austin, Texas than you can here in Boise, Idaho, and you'll actually pay a little bit less for rent than you will here in Boise, Idaho. So if you're willing to deal with the heat and humidity and maybe a little bit more crowds and unfortunately generally flat landscapes relative to the mountains here in Idaho, it would probably be better for you from an economic perspective to go live in a place like Texas. And then finally, they have a metro level summary here where they just show their analysis. Unfortunately, Boise didn't make the cut here. No surprise, it's a pretty small metro area. But might be interesting to compare against a few of the other places in the region, like Seattle, for example, or Denver. So we talked about Denver earlier. I'm blown away by the incomes in Denver. That's amazing. Let's go down to Seattle, Washington real quick. So in Seattle, median rent's about $2,000, which means you need to make, according to them, about $80,600 to the median renter needs to make that to afford that level of rent. But the median renter makes a little bit more than that at about $81,500, and so they can afford to live there. But here in Boise, $1,450 sounds pretty good compared to $2,015. All right, well, I hope you found that interesting, thinking about the affordability or lack thereof in the Boise rental market relative to other markets in the country. The key takeaway is you can go live in a more affordable place and make a lot more money. If you go move down to somewhere like Texas, in Houston or Dallas or Austin. But if you want to stay in the Mountain West, you can still do slightly better for yourself from an affordability perspective by living in maybe Salt Lake or Denver, where you can make more money than you can here in Boise, Idaho. And so with that, thank you for watching. And if you have any questions about affordability or the Boise market here, give me a shout and I'd be happy to help you out. Thanks.